Premature sex among children, a major social problem in a Roseau South community. Senior counsel Astafan says Iranian fugitive's diplomatic passport revoked before his arrest. And a $2.5 million injection of supplies and equipment for agriculture. I am Idona John Baptist with the Channel 5 News. We'll be back with the details. Topping the news, premature sex is among the social problems which a Chicago-based criminologist is attempting to curb in the Silver Lake community. Dominican Dr. Peter Seja, who's a director of criminal justice at Chicago's North Park University, is spearheading a program called Better Me, Better You in Silver Lake. He has partnered with director of the Love One Teach One Foundation, Gloria Walsh, to make this happen. The idea is to provide the youth of Silver Lake with skills which will build their quality of life. He spoke to Channel 5 News during a recent trip here.
There's no secret about sexual abuse or sexual use. There are mentions about, some persons will have a legal age for alcohol. Some persons may be experimenting with alcohol, or maybe certainly before they should, or maybe for the drugs in ways that they shouldn't. They live in an environment where it is well known that persons try different ways to make a living, and some of them, sometimes it creates confusion as to should I go that way or should I go another way. So they are immersed in a situation that is a situation of poverty, and situations of poverty come with those things, unfortunately. It's very rare that you have contexts of poverty that do not have some kind of illicit drug use, that do not have some sort of illicit drug sales and so on.
Low literacy levels and the lack of intact families are also issues plaguing the community.
And when young persons do not have a whole lot of privacy and they have exposure to men that are, or young girls and boys that may have exposure to men that may see them as sexual ploy, and if they feel some levels of insecurity and they don't have a lot of protection, how do they learn to navigate their sexuality in ways that doesn't give themselves up before they are really mature? So you face all issues of premature sex and premature involvement, and the question, how do we deal with that in a context where you cannot just hide away?
Seja said the aim is not to castigate those involved, but to offer them a chance to reform their behaviors.
We are going to be protective of people's names. Of course, if we know that things that happen to students, to children, we have to protect children. We do things to help protect children, but at the same time, we're not here to be the law. We're not here to be police. We're here to support families, and to me, even the offenders themselves. If I have a way that I can address, I can speak to offenders in ways that they can create a better society. I would help to do that, because the whole idea is that all of them face a kind of a common problem, and the better that they understand that they themselves can do things to change the problems themselves, is a better outcome. But they face a lot of challenges, and we give them tools to help overcome them while their conditions change, so that even if they go in another situation where those conditions are not the same, they will have the tools that can help them build a better quality of life.
The Ministry of Education has turned the spotlight on child abuse prevention as it observes Health and Family Life Education Week.
The Salisbury Primary School was the venue on Wednesday to focus on child abuse prevention advocacy. The Ministry of Education hosted a special assembly there in which the issues of emotional, sexual, and physical abuse were highlighted. HFLE coordinator Rena John Charles says it is vital that the message taught at schools is enforced at home.
A lot of times they were brought up a certain way, and they continue along that line thinking that that is the way my parents brought me up, and so they practice the same things which might really be abusive. So we need to help them to understand what abuse is, and I think that would be the key to putting an end to it.
She stressed the importance of students learning ways to protect themselves and speak up against child abuse.
The thing is not to hold secrets, so we need to emphasize that continuously, and that there are people who they can approach, like a teacher or principal or a parent, or even the pastor of the church, or a neighbor, somebody. They must reveal that. The problem is just keeping secrets that sort of like perpetuates the behavior.
Meantime, acting principal of Salisbury Primary, Henry Langley says he's in full support of educating the students on child abuse.
I cannot say it's a huge problem, but it happens. And of course, sometimes some of these things don't get reported as well. So we have to be proactive and take our steps to try to deal with the situation. It's a relevant topic because, these things happen all the time in our community and we need to protect our children and keep them safe for our future. So I endorse this topic. I think it's an excellent topic for this year.
It's one thing to educate the students on this topic at school. What are your views on them being educated on the topic at home?
Oh, well, that is very important, very, very important. Even if the school does its part, if the home doesn't support and help, then we might find them still in the same situation or making very little improvement.
Peace Corps volunteer assigned to the school, Steve Walder, says education authorities have to be creative in promoting awareness of the topic to children.
So we put together some short skits that show, through role-playing, neglect as one, emotional abuse as another, and physical abuse as a third. So after the skits, we're going to ask the school at large if they can kind of come up with better ways to handle the situations that we presented. I think in any society, in any culture, child abuse is prevalent at levels that are unacceptable, and I think it needs to be addressed all over the world, not just here in Dominica, but everywhere. And children that are abused are at risk later in life. They can develop emotional problems. They oftentimes take their anger out on society through committing crimes, petty crimes, serious crimes.
Additional moves are being taken to upgrade access to the Layou Valley, a route to several tourist sites.
Previous bridge had been compromised after a number of disasters in recent years. Upon completion by the end of 2017, the project will produce a 2-lane bridge with pedestrian sidewalks along with retaining walls.
It's consistent as well with the principle of the government or the new policy direction of the government to rebuild better. We have heard from on previous occasions that this new bridge will replace a one-lane bridge and will now be a 2-lane bridge. As we have discussed before, we've mentioned before in the media, this bridge is important, particularly to the farmers who live and reside in neighboring communities and have to go through the bridge or traverse on the bridge on the way to their respective farms. This, I think, highlights the fact that this government puts a priority or regards the agricultural sector and the livelihood of farmers as a priority.
Parliamentary representative for the St. Joseph constituency, Kelva Daru, expressed satisfaction at the state of progress.
As a member of Parliament for the St. Joseph constituency, I'm very pleased with the progress thus far, and my constituents, by extension, they are very pleased with what is taking place here. Here we are seeing an amount of over $11.4 million being invested in the construction of this bridge, which will impact significantly on the constituency, more so on the farmers who traverse this area on a daily basis. We also have a number of our locals employed in the project. Some are employed as security guards, some are employed as cooks, others are on the actual project themselves, and also machine operators. And I believe this augurs well for the collaborative effort between the government of China and Dominica to see that we can have both cultures come together on one particular project. On completion of this bridge, the farmers in the area will have a smoother access to the farms, and I believe this project in fact complements and sets the stage for the entire transformation of the Layou Valley area.
Chinese Ambassador His Excellency Liu Kun also praised government in its efforts to repair infrastructure damaged by Tropical Storm Erica in 2015.
This bridge is a very, very important project in Dominic, and especially during the year of 2015, after the Erica tropical storm, the many infrastructure in Dominic was damaged by this severe storm. So during the past 1 year and a half, I think under the leadership of the Prime Minister Dr. Scarlett, a lot of work have been done for the rehabilitation of after the tropical storm. Just 2 months ago, I also visited this site. At that time, there is nothing here. But just within 3 months, so the project is going very, very fast. I think at the same time, I think this bridge will be a very good bridge, of the high quality bridge. I think this bridge will be a bridge of the friendship, a bridge between China and the Dominic.
The project is being undertaken by the China Railway 14th Bureau Group through an $11 million grant from the government of the People's Republic of China.
In related news, Minister of Public Works Senator Miriam Blanchard says ongoing construction of the New York Valley Bridge is in keeping with government's plan to build back better following Tropical Storm Erica in 2015. While the York Valley Bridge is under construction, government is preparing to repair the Layou Valley Road. The announcement by Prime Minister Skerrit during a cabinet visit to the York Valley or Glosho Bridge on Thursday, as he expressed satisfaction with the progress on the bridge project.
Broke ground some weeks ago, and so far we believe that work is progressing satisfactorily. We expect the bridge to come to a full completion by the end of this year, because in addition to the bridge, as you would see, there will be the construction of some retaining walls or river defense walls to protect both the roadway and the newly constructed bridge. But I know there's a second step taken. The designs are being done, for certain sections of the road. And as those sections are completed, then we will go to tender. I believe we have advertised the section below the, I think some people say is west of the existing Layou bridges. So we've gone to tender for that section of that road. And I believe within the next 4 or 5 weeks, we should receive the tender documents from those who would have expressed an interest in constructing the river defense and reinstatement of the road west of the Layou Bridge. We're looking at the other side of the Layou Bridge, which would be the east, I suspect, and we're looking at designs and so forth.
You're watching Channel 5 News. The Prime Minister takes a trip to a country in Europe. That and more when we return. Thanks for staying with us. Senior Counsel Anthony Astafan has denied reports that Iranian-born Malaysian national Alireza Monfared still holds a Dominican diplomatic passport. Astafan has had to respond to the matter following the arrest of Monfared, who is allegedly involved in what is described as Iran's biggest corruption scandal ever. Reports are that Monfared was on the run from law enforcement and there was a lengthy international manhunt for his arrest. Unconfirmed reports said that he had finally been arrested in Dominica last week, according to the state-run Iran Daily newspaper. He was later extradited to Iran. The 43-year-old is accused of helping to embezzle billions of dollars while Iran evaded international oil sanctions. While Astafan did not deny that Monfared had a diplomatic passport, he says it was revoked last year after a review process.
I was able to speak to the Prime Minister before he left the state, when he was on his way out of the state. I can safely tell you this is another example of the hype, sensationalistic misrepresentation of the facts put out there by the opposition without any due inquiry or concern for the truth. I can tell you for a fact that a due diligence report a comprehensive due diligence report was done by Bishop Services on behalf of the government, one, and secondly, that the diplomatic passport which the good gentleman had was revoked by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs on the 20th of January 2016, literally a year before he was arrested.
Astafan says Monfared's diplomatic status has also been cancelled.
So by no stretch of the imagination was his arrest, at the time of his arrest, was he in possession of a diplomatic passport or a diplomat on behalf of the Commonwealth of Dominica. Secondly, I find it passing strange that there will be an inference of some wrongdoing on his appointment when in fact the Prime Minister would have acted on the basis of a due diligence report done by Bishop Services, a highly reputable due diligence firm that has been retained by the government to due diligence on their behalf.
On the agriculture scene, the Ministry of Agriculture has received a boost with $2.5 million in equipment and supplies from the European Union. The supply of inputs is part of production support for crops and livestock following Tropical Storm Erica in 2015. It is made available under the Banana Accompanying Measures program and is expected to boost productivity in targeted areas across the sector. National Authorizing Officer, or NAO, for the European Development Fund, Carlene Roberts, says the intervention is strategic.
The handing over ceremony this morning of the equipment and supplies for the agricultural stations and production support for crops and livestock post-Tropical Storm Erica is one such major undertaking, as it includes the supply of quality planting material, necessary large and small farm equipment, tools and other accessories to ensure that the agricultural stations as well as individual farmer holdings operate at maximum efficiency. Therefore, using BAM resources and mindful of the EU's objective of enhancing lives, particularly rural livelihoods, 5 contracts were signed for 16 lots, including large farm equipment, fertilizers, livestock supplies, water storage tanks, water supplies, crates and propagation materials, small equipment and protective wear, greenhouses and irrigation material and supplies, feeding supplies, roofing materials, passion fruit wire, ginger planting material, and fungicides. These contracts are worth over €800,000 in total. That is approximately 2.5 million Eastern Caribbean dollars directly injected to increase agricultural production.
Meantime, Minister for Agriculture Johnson Drygo says the contribution has made it easier for his ministry to carry out its mandate.
The equipment provided is very important and vital to the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries as we seek to improve and upgrade our services to the farming community and to deliver on our mandate, increasing food production, reducing rural poverty, creating employment, and making a bigger contribution to the gross domestic product of our country. We have a number of 28 tillers which will enhance the capacity of farmers to reduce on time, manual labor, and cost for land preparation. These pieces of equipment will overall reduce the cost of production of various crops grown by our farmers. This is critically important as we speak of the Irish potato season.
The NAO also provided 28 tillers and 1 excavator at a total cost of $910,000 as part of the contribution. The excavator is expected to be used for the clearing and construction of farm access roads. Dominica has taken the first step towards joining the international community in achieving land degradation neutrality. Andrea Louis explains.
Land degradation neutrality is a state whereby the amount of healthy and productive land resources necessary to support an ecosystem remains stable or increases within a specified chronological scale. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health and Environment, Helen Royer, says this Inception workshop is in keeping with Dominica's national response to a regional effort at solving a global challenge.
On the 25th of September 2015, Member States of the United Nations adopted a set of goals to end poverty, protect the planet, and ensure prosperity for all as part of the 2030 Sustainable Development Agenda. It is our hope that the achievement of land degradation neutrality could indeed contribute effectively to the implementation of Agenda 2030, not least to poverty eradication, ensuring food security, the availability of clean water, improving health, and combating climate change and loss of biodiversity.
The Partnership Initiative for Sustainable Land Management Support Office was one of the partners in this first ever workshop in Dominica.
The building blocks of this journey are the result of extensive discussions with country parties and stakeholders and is based on the best current available information on LDN issues. We also draw on the lessons of 14 pioneer countries' experiences of how to put LDN concepts into practice. And by the way, Grenada in our sphere was one of those pioneer countries.
Director of the Environmental Coordinating Unit, Lloyd Pascal, says this workshop will help in ensuring land security for future generations.
The land for us is too important for neglect. Even you talk about climate change and the global warming and all the rains and all the winds and so on. But when it comes down to it, all what we are trying to do is to make life on Earth a better situation for everybody. We think that it's just right to do that kind of response to pay some attention to the land. That's where we get our food, that's where we get our water, that's where we get life.
The one-day workshop on land degradation neutrality was held earlier this week. Andrea Louis, Channel 5 News.
The company, which was forced to resort to requesting a $500,000 loan from government, says business is looking brighter this year. Information of a government loan to HHV Whitchurch Company and Limited was made public while the Prime Minister sought the House of Assembly's approval of the 2015-2016 supplementary estimates last October. Communications officer of the company, Kira Thompson-Ed, told Channel 5 News 2016 was a challenging year for its operations.
You had I guess you could call it a high after Erica, because a lot of people were sending remittances home. But we also noticed a drop in sales within the retail and the distribution and wholesale sectors. The distribution network was greatly affected after Tropical Storm Erica, and that carried into the first 2 quarters of 2016 until the infrastructure was put back into a safe position, because of course you cannot put your salesmen at risk. It was a challenging year, 2016, though towards the end of the year we started to see an upturn in the business, mainly within the remittance sector and to some degree within the shipping aspect of the company.
Thompson-Ed says its insurance portfolio is picking up. Their sale in online ordering has increased and more people are traveling through L'Express de Zile, which the company is the agent of.
So in 2017, so far what we're seeing is the remittance trend has sort of come into a pattern that you can recognize. For a couple of years it was not within the same regular pattern. But we do know the challenges that this economy faces, and we try to, I guess, roll with it.
The company, which also branched out to Portsmouth, has assured that it will not pull out operations.
Dominica's economy right now is not necessarily at its prime. We work with that. We work with the understanding that the luxury spend of our customers may not be optimal. So you have to try and figure out different ways to ensure that your customers can get what they need, and you as a business can continue to provide it. I think Whitchurch it's a legacy in Dominica. I met Whitchurch here, as have many of us. It falls in line with the Jas Garways and the L.A. Dupinis who've been around for 100+ years. We're celebrating our 106th year this year, yes. And I think the intention is Whitchurch has become a household name. We'd like to continue to be a household name.
And the Honorable Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit has traveled to Greece on state business. According to a press release from the government press secretary, Mr. Skerrit is on a working visit to Greece. He is accompanied on the trip by Dominica's non-resident ambassador to Greece, Lennox Lawrence, according to that press release. Minister for Housing, Lands and Water Resource Management, Reginald Ostry, is acting Prime Minister. That's news. Sports highlights next with Kenny Williams.
First up in sports, Windward Islands Volcanoes defeated West Indies under-19 by 20 runs in a competitive match of the Nagico Super 50 on Wednesday. Volcanoes took first knock and made 221 all-out in 46.2 overs. Set 222 for victory, West Indies under-19 finished close to their target in reply, but was bowled out for 200. Meantime, in Tuesday's games, where a century from Craig Brathwaite ensured Barbados a 145-run win against Guyana in their first match of the 2017 Nagico Super 50. The home team won the toss and decided to bat first to score 302 for 7. Craig Brathwaite got 101 of 183 balls, including 7 fours and 1 6. Set 303 to win, Guyana crumbled underneath the Bajan team and were bowled out for 157 in 32 overs. Leon Johnson added 55. Suleiman Ben took 4 for 35 and Ashley Nurse 4 for 42. In the Jamaica versus combined campuses and colleges games, CCC won by 75 runs. CCC batted first and made 215 for 8. In reply, Jamaica posted 140 all-out, with the highest score by a Jamaican batsman being 48. Matches continue on Thursday between Guyana and Jamaica in a day-night match and CCC versus ICC Americas. Both matches are carded for Barbados. On the basketball scene, an opportunity to improve on the Dominican basketball product when one International Basketball Federation official makes a short stop in Dominica this week. Lubomir Kotelba, advisor to the Secretary General of the International Basketball Federation, FIBA, will be in Dominica from Wednesday to Friday to meet with members of the Dominica Amateur Basketball Association, Ministry of Sports, Dominica Olympic Committee, along with coaches, referees, and players. It is his aim to present a detailed assessment to FIBA, highlighting the positive aspects of basketball in Dominica and the areas in which improvements is necessary. Through the FIBA National Federation Support and Development Project, FIBA hopes to develop a tailor-made assistance program for the island. The plan is in accordance with FIBA's mandate to help national basketball federations improve the basketball product in their respective countries. On to football, where the 2017 National Bank of Dominica-sponsored Sports Division Primary School football competition will kick off on Thursday. The event begins with an opening ceremony where officials of the NBD and Ministry of Sports, among others, are expected to address the teams. The addresses will precede the Southwest District Zonal competition. Over 50 primary schools are expected to participate in this year's competition. Kickoff is at 10 a.m. Still in Sports Division games, there were wins for Dominica State College and Casabru Secondary in the secondary schools volleyball championships on Tuesday. DSC had a competitive game against the Casabru Secondary team, winning the game in 3 straight sets. DSC got game scores of 25-22, 25-21 and 25-21. Meantime, in the female match, it would seem that familiar turf did the trick for the CBSS team when they beat the visiting Wesley High School in straight sets. CBSS posted game scores of 25-8, 25-5 and 25-7. Next up, we can tell you that registration is open for the 2017 National Cricket League and will run until February 6. The Dominica Cricket Association's annual general meeting and prize-giving ceremony is carded for February 11 at Garaway Hotel from 10 in the morning. And February 18 marks the start of the Premier League. The intermediate competition begins on March 4. That's all the time for Sport Time. Kenny Williams, join us next time.
Now for the weather forecast.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to your weather. I'll be your presenter, Farah Rock Correa. Today at the Cadenfield Station, the weather started off as cloudy and by afternoon, fair skies prevailed. Let's take a look now at the infrared satellite imagery. Well, weak and stable conditions was a dominant feature across the Lesser Antilles. We move on now to visible satellite imagery, and what it shows is a minimal cloud cover across the Lesser Antilles. Earlier radar imagery indicated limited shower activity across the central and southern portion of Lesser Antilles, and meanwhile some scattered showers were observed over the Leeward Islands. The weather tonight is expected to be fairly partly cloudy with a few brief showers, and similar conditions can be expected for tomorrow, with maximum temperatures expecting to peak up to 30 degrees Celsius. So let's move on now to the marine forecast. Well, sea conditions will be slight to moderate. Waves are expected to peak up to 7 feet. Let's move on now to the 3D forecast. Well, beautiful weather conditions expected for those of you planning outdoor activities for Thursday and Friday. Fair to partly cloudy skies with a few brief showers is expected, with maximum temperatures picking up to 30 degrees Celsius. On Saturday, however, partly cloudy to occasionally cloudy skies with some scattered showers can be expected. Well, the high pressure system will reestablish itself by tomorrow, hence fair to partly cloudy skies across the Lesser Antilles is expected. Let's move on now to the international city forecast. Cloudy skies with some showers is expected for the city of New York, partly cloudy skies for Miami, London and Caracas, and the city of Beijing can enjoy some sunny skies tomorrow. The sun will rise tomorrow at 6:36 a.m. and will set at 6:01 p.m. For more information, you could always visit our website at weather.gov.dm or call the weather hotline at 447-5555. Join us tomorrow evening for your next weather broadcast. Thank you.
To end the news, the headlines again. Premature sex among children, a major social problem in a Roseau South community. Senior counsel Astafan says Iranian fugitive's diplomatic passport revoked before his arrest. And a $2.5 million injection of supplies and equipment for agriculture. Feel free to contact us at news@MarpinNewsWed25thJan2k17. You can also access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the entire production team, I am Idona John Baptist. Thanks for watching. Join us tomorrow.